What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. You know what I'm saying? We about to get into this another video. Her family found her OF. Now, I ain't gonna lie, that has to be top 5 most embarrassing things that could happen to you in your life. You know what I'm saying? If you have an OnlyFans account and your family find your OnlyFans account, you know what I'm saying? If you going crazy on OnlyFans, you know what I'm saying? The hot tour, all that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's OD crazy. That's OD crazy. Jeez. I know. It was this one girl I used to talk to back in the day. She did OnlyFans. I found out from was it Instagram? I think it was Instagram. It was a TikTok. I can't remember. It was one of those. Anyway, but yeah, bro, she was doing OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? Had a whole different account. All of that. You know what I'm saying? Promoting the jump. Crazy. Didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? During the pandemic too. Didn't even know. But when I found out though, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, I had to wipe my hands with that. You know what I'm saying? That's nasty work. Nasty work. But hey, get your money how you get your money. I never judge nobody how they get money. You know what I'm saying? Never judge nobody how they get money. But I can't be having no dealings with that. You know what I'm saying?
Rather be rich or famous? Well, I can guarantee you this person right here probably regrets the hell out of the fame that she has now.
She sent my mom my Fansly and a picture of me sucking a fucking dildo. I said it. She sent her a picture of me sucking a dildo.
Oh my gosh. This has to be a OF Fansly work content creators nightmare, is that this content gets to their family. Honestly, this is probably why if you were actually genuinely proud as to what you were doing, you would probably let them know beforehand that this is what I am doing on the internet. Let's have a discussion. I've seen content creators in that OF sphere talk about how they've sat down with their parents and talked to them beforehand, and I gotta give them a round of applause. And God, that is crazy to say out loud, but I do. This is the reality of these situations, is that this content could get to them without their knowing beforehand, and they're going to be so caught off guard that you can't be the one to control the narrative in the situation.
It's my fault. Because she's saying my cousins were looking up my pictures. Like my male older cousins, they were looking me up. And I said, why the fuck aren't we asking them why the fuck they're looking at me? Why?
Whoa. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. That's wicked. You know what I'm saying? Why is your cousins looking at your OnlyFans? You know what I'm saying? Like, they looking at your pictures. They looking you up. That's crazy. That's nasty. You know what I'm saying? That's a little bit of incest. I ain't gonna lie. That's incest.
Why is it always me? Why the fuck is it always me? Why is everyone saying like, oh, it's me?
Well, it's you, because you're the one getting naked on the internet. I think that this is a total lack of accountability. She's trying to spin this narrative that her cousins are weird for looking her up and we should be putting the blame on them. But to be honest with you, no. And you can do your sex work all you want. But
I mean, that's still weird. You know what I'm saying? That's not no. You know what I'm saying? Like, the cousin's looking at the other cousin, you know what I'm saying, doing OnlyFans and looking at her pictures and all that stuff. Like, we all know the type of content that's on OnlyFans. So what you're looking for is the content that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? That we all know that you're looking for. So it's not no. You know what I'm saying? It's not no. It's ill. You know what I'm saying? It's ill, but go crazy.
But it seems like you are not proud as to what you're doing. And I thought that was the whole point of this liberated sex work OF movement. I follow my cousins on social media all day and all night. If they were doing some weird stuff, it is the family scuttlebutt. That's just how it is. She's trying to make it more perverse than what it is. Her cousins weren't taking her material and getting the Astroglide and whacking it off, you know, double fisting the glick or whatever. They weren't sending it to their homeboys to say, damn, my cousin got a fat ass with some big titties. They sent it to the family because they were in such disbelief and shock that their cousin was doing something like this. This is Strawberry Tab.
I ain't gonna lie. Damn, I paused this video 3 times in the first 2 minutes. That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Like, if my cousin was doing OnlyFans, if I had any type of cousin doing OnlyFans, bro, and you know what I'm saying, like, I find out, I'm not about to like go sharing you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? You know your OF going viral. You know what I'm saying? You know your OF going viral. I'm not gonna say that, you know what I'm saying? Cause that's nasty, but it's going viral. You know what I'm saying? Just give her a heads up. You know, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, put that in the family group chat. Like that's sick. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's embarrassing, you know? If she don't want nobody to know, she don't want nobody to know. You know, type of thing. So
she's one of those Twitch streamers that's whole niche is to stretch the limits and bounds as to what TOS has to offer, and then ultimately funnel people in and push people into their OF or their Fansly content.
Hold your baby properly and make sure that there's enough milk coming out so your baby is satisfied. And without further ado, we should get right into the video.
Now, when you're doing this type of content for a living, obviously it's going to have some backlash ramifications, especially if you're close.
that's nasty. Looking at that, that's nasty. That's a real baby. Oh, that's a fake baby. Oh, okay, never mind.
Now, when you're doing this type of content for a living, obviously it's going to have some backlash ramifications, especially if you're close to your family. And I'm not going to lie, these are the types of people who should not be doing this content at all. Clearly, you have some sort of reservations or pauses or some sort of embarrassment that you are doing this or have to do this in order to make some sort of money. This is not the life for you. Any sort of sex work, any sort of OF content comes with inherent risks that you have to take, whether it be on your physical or your mental. And I'm not saying that these things should happen, but they do happen. And somebody that's as weak as this, who would complain or cry or get upset that the content gets back to their family, shouldn't be doing this content at all. Especially because you have videos out there with the biggest streamer on YouTube doing outrageous content like this.
Oh. Karma. I know how I felt.
Everything just so like perverse, bruh. It's wicked, bruh.
What are you doing? When a man loves a woman, can't keep his mind on. Bro, I was dancing. The fuck, bro? Relax, bro.
I'm traumatized.
You're a fucking whale. I wouldn't any. Do this.
You see, when you do the crossover with the younger audience to get that demographic to come to your platform with iShowSpeed, who definitely has a larger kid audience, it's no wonder why your little cousins are finding your content.
Horny,
and the conversation on the internet has been, is it weird that our younger cousins are looking up this type of content? I honestly don't think so. Maybe not. But the reason why they are even doing this is probably because, like we've talked about on this channel, people have been bullying these kids in class saying, yo, isn't that Tabby, your cousin who is on iShowSpeed? Isn't this her IG with the link in the bio? Oh, I took my mommy's credit card. Aren't these Tabby's bare breast? She's taking away their lived experience by saying it's always her, when no, I believe that your last name is a representation of everybody. So when you do those things, and people have been bringing it up to your younger cousins because you're on iShowSpeed stream doing this, been bringing it up to your sister because you've been on the internet doing this, they also have to live with those sorts of consequences for your actions. And the difference is they don't make the money that you make on OnlyFans. So they're getting called Mr. Pink for no reason. But I don't think that a lot of content creators recognize that there is a price of fame that you have to pay once you get into making the content. And the other party involved in that last clip is somebody else that we should talk about, because Speed has a lot of problems with his brother Jamal. iShowSpeed has become a worldwide phenomenon, and his brother has been living the life because of it. When I say the life, there's two parts of that life. Of course, he can start his own content creation endeavors and have a massive leg up on a lot of the competition. But after getting basically gifted 80K subs from Speed and Kai, which is like a crazy leg up that he has, Jamal ran into this issue where he found that it is much harder than he anticipated to be one of the best content creators that he could be, or hell, even a competent content creator.
I'm so angry of YouTube and stuff. Thank you for the gift. I'm so angry of YouTube stuff that I want to quit forever. I want to stop being on Speed streams. I'm generally going to stop being on Speed streams. Y'all not going to see me on any other streams. You're not even going to see me on my dad's vlogs, his live streams, my brother's live streams, his vlogs, his YouTube stuff, anybody's stuff. I'm not going to be on no one YouTube, no nothing, bro. And I'm quitting this, bro. And y'all still saying cat, bro. Y'all still saying cat. Like, bro, this is why. See, this is why I don't stream. This is why I don't stream. Y'all can't support a real creator. I don't even think, look, y'all just throwing like For all the people who saying this, bro, like, bro, see, this is why. Look, this is why I'm quitting right now. I'm quitting, bro. I might just delete my channel after this, bro. Like, honestly, this jump is making me angry day by day. Cause y'all just saying cap, all this stuff. April Fools. Is it April? It's not April, bro. I'm being dead for real, bro. Dead for real. And y'all think I'm still capping? Yeah. Y'all ain't gonna see me on no more videos. No more nothing, bro.
And I think there's a lot of ways that you can look at this situation, but one of the more underrated ways to look at this is that there is so much pressure that comes with being from iShowSpeed's brother. Not necessarily because there's this pressure to live up to the hype of iShowSpeed, but because Speed does some outrageous content. And there's not a level of normality that can exist any longer because you are iShowSpeed's brother. So all the things that you used to do with him, being that sibling who just went on vacations or played outside, no longer exist because of the type of content that Speed makes and the level of fame that he has achieved.
Let's say I want to be a regular kid. I want to be a regular kid. I want to do stuff without a famous brother. Let's say that. I want to do my own stuff. I want to have my brother be the main center of attention. Like, every time I go to school, they bring up Speed, and yada, yada, yada. That junk. Like, it ticks me off.
Bro, I hate hearing people complain. I hate it, bro. I hate it. Like, I hate it. Pick a lane. You know what I'm saying? Pick a lane, bro. Pick a lane. Like, do something different. You know what I'm saying? You look at Michael Jordan and his son, bro. Two totally different people, bro. Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time. His son, the greatest Coke player of all time, bro. Like, it's two different people, bro. You know what I'm saying? Pick a lane. Do something different. Create your own legacy, bro. Simple as that, bro. I hate people. He probably young. I shouldn't be talking to him like this, bro. He young. He a kid, bro. I just hate hearing people complain, bro. I hate it.
It ticks me off. But, like, I just want to be a regular kid without a, famous brother. You know what I'm saying? Y'all probably don't know. I kind of want to hop off Speed streams for, like, not 80 years, but, like, for, like, at least 3 years. And see how it is. I want to cut contact with everybody over there and just be myself, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I won't say, like, take a break off of Speed streams.
He sound like Speed too.
Streaming in general. And start, worrying about myself. You know what I'm saying?
You see, it's kind of hard living in that person's shadow. And I can kind of attest to this based off of my brother and who he is in the content creation lane. But it can be hard to establish yourself or live some level of normal life based off of who your family members are. And content is 24/7. It's a constant cycle that involves a lot of the people around you. There is no escaping the actions that your brother, sister, cousins, parents, or even relationships or couples, there's no way to escape the actions that the other parties involved in these things do when it's posted on the internet. Now, because content creation is something that a lot of people want to get into, it makes sense why you would want to possibly still be involved with it, even if you have a successful brother, and you may be able to go about doing it in the same ways that John David Washington did, son of Denzel Washington. But ultimately, it still may not prove to be beneficial. And because content creation is so big, people that are also a part of these parties, but not the main character, the center of attention, as iShowSpeed's brother Jamal mentioned, may still want to get involved in it. But it's going to be very hard. You got to try to separate yourself. Kind of like Bronny James when he switched his name from LeBron James Jr. to Bronny James. But ultimately, as we've seen in this year's draft and, going forward, it still seems like you will always live in their shadow. Now, me personally, I think I've been able to do some sort of decent enough job that people don't know that me and my brother have the connection that we have, even though we are on content together quite often. Hell, I know that for a fact I will still get comments underneath this comment section that say, hey, I didn't know you were Lowe's brother. Yes. Low from Playback. Yes, I am his brother. I can only imagine what it would be like if I was Kai Cenat's brother or iShowSpeed's brother or any of the biggest content creators in the world, siblings or friends or cousins that are also trying to do this while getting the allegations of being somebody who is a coattail rider or a clout chaser. But I have to commend Speed because he is at least keeping his brother involved in the content because he can. And this is a price of fame that a lot of the famous people don't like to look at before they get into it, is that you're going to have to make those sacrifices going down the line where you won't be able to see your family. You won't be able to see your brothers. You won't be able to see your sisters. And it will affect your emotions heavily.
Because they'll blame you, and they'll be like, oh, we're distant now or whatever. My sisters miss me so bad. We was just getting into it because it's like, it do be hard to maintain a relationship with somebody you grew up with and then try to travel the whole world and like please so many other people, and it's like you still got to pay attention to them. So it's a lot, you know, but I'm trying to deal with it. Yeah, shout out my sisters, I miss them.
I mean, I know all about it. I mean, I left my home country when I was much younger, and I think that there's no other way to put it. I don't mean to scare you or whatever, but ultimately following your dreams, there is sacrifice that comes with that.
Yeah.
And I think the family thing is the ultimate sacrifice when you leave the people behind that you love, and you just don't, they're always going to be there, but you just don't get all that time.
And it's sad because they'll blame you like, and they'll be like, oh, we're distant now or whatever. And it's like, I don't mean to be. It's just like, I can't be in another country and also be as close to you as I was when we was 5.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah. It's all love. At the end of the day, I appreciate that they even miss me, you know, because some people's siblings don't care about them.
I know, it breaks my heart.
Now, it's definitely sad because Ice Spice and some other content creators have talked about the sacrifices that they've had to make in regards to family quite often. And it's ultimately a necessary evil, but that doesn't mean that the journey becomes any easier just because you have to do it. If anything, it can become harder. And sometimes it can make you even think if this is all worth it and cause you to have some sort of mental breakdown like AMP Chris did when he was doing his subathon recently to go through the Wukong gang, but he was definitely missing his mom in this situation. Now, it's definitely sad because Ice Spice and some other content creators have talked about the sacrifices that they've had to make in regards to family quite often in their journey to success. And it's a necessary evil, but it's something that you have to do. And the reason why I feel for Chris a lot is because this isn't even necessarily the life that he chose. He started off as the AMP editor and grew to being an on-camera personality, but now this whole streaming game, this new content lane that they've discovered has had him be peer.
Chris Next Door is by far one of the most creative people I have ever seen, like on the streaming stuff, bruh. Like, he is super creative, bruh. He's good at making music, editing, even like his streaming style. When he first started streaming, bro, super creative. He had like talk shows on the jump, bro. It's crazy, bro. Like his whole, it's like an Eric Andre type of thing, bro. Like, Dude's OD creative, you know what I'm saying?
You're pressured by fans and people that love the group to become one of these people. But from the Chris that I know, he likes to make movies, which can be taken over long periods of time, which means that he'll be able to still have some sort of balance between work and life. But when you get into the whole streaming game, there is no way that you can adequately balance those two and still grow a platform like Chris is on the journey of growing. And ultimately, this is a price of fame that nobody talks about because it is something that is just supposed to be a shut up and dance type situation. Hey, nobody told you to stream, you can always cut it off. But no, it's harder than what it looks like. I think another price of fame that people don't talk about is ultimately there's going to be a point where you lose yourself in the content, and with the newfound status that you have, you'll face a set of unique challenges that honestly only a certain number of people can deal with, kind of like the Chris situation in which we were talking about. In the rest of Chris's breakdown, he talks about having constant scrutiny and constant opinions being thrown on him from these parts of the internet. And honestly, a lot of people aren't there to sympathize him or care to see what he's saying because, hey, you make a shit ton of money, but at the end of the day, he is still a real human who still has real emotions. Now, there is a conversation that some of these content creators have brought some of these things onto themselves. I don't know how you would bring like your mother being stalked upon yourself, but the audience that you do cultivate can play a part into some of these actions and behaviors. Casey Neistat's examples of him hanging out with people in public seems to be a much different interaction than, I don't know, I Show Speed going out there in public. But at the end of the day, none of this is a justification for some of the links that people go to in order to do crazy things or emotional damages that these content creators have to suffer as they are famous. None of it is a justification. And there's also the portion of losing yourself, your authentic self in these situations where you grow. A lot of people come around these content creators, form some sort of parasocial relationship with them because they feel like they're being their authentic selves. But what happens far often than not is the fact that once you grow, things start to become way more corporate. Hell, there might even be an argument that streaming is becoming more corporate. There's a mass appeal to this when you go the corporate route, when you button up, when you polish up. However, that core fan base can turn off so quickly based off of the actions that you do take in your road to success. People like to look at AMP for an example of this. This is not me making any sort of criticism or an indictment on AMP. They have reached new heights and new limits and levels that nobody could think of. However, there has been this sentiment that continues to grow that says these guys are so so much different than what they started off as, it's honestly a turnoff. Now, this could be the natural progression. Hell, LeBron had to get a jump shot at one point in time. You know, he couldn't stay going to the rim. He's 40 years old. But this does still rub some people the wrong way, and it's just something that you're gonna have to live with. And with you changing yourself over time as your content starts to change and you starts to grow as an individual, those people who were there with you from the beginning that saw you at this certain level will change on you as well. I saw recently that Duke Dennis was now being called ugly because he did a Complex interview with Speedy, and I thought it was a little bit hilarious because Duke has literally had the same face for the longest of times. It's just that these weirdos on the internet now are doing some sort of micro analyzing of who he is or what he looks like. But when we talk about really turning on Duke Dennis, there was
people will switch up on you in an instant, bruh. Switch up on you in an instant, bruh. I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, man. Jeez. That's the thing, bro. Like, being in the public eye, you know what I'm saying? It comes with a lot of stuff, bruh. A lot of stuff. You know, you gotta deal with so much stuff, bruh. That's why a lot of these people that's like super famous, they end up in mental institutions and end up offing themselves because they can't handle the public eye. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of criticism coming your way just on one person. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Was one woman who blessed the internet with this marvelous piece of content to show how miserable of a person she is. She had these high expectations of Duke Dennis and turned on him when she got rejected.
Mentioning me in a story every day, but I also like, and I'm sorry, I didn't acknowledge it either. But goddamn, nigga.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I said I don't say you. I said sit.
God, okay. I'm not finna. Goddamn. My arms got tired.
Oh my gosh.
But like I said, and this is no hate to her.
That's
I
a
still
block.
think she's
I was a blogger.
You know what I'm saying? A beautiful woman. But like, just because I didn't respond and shit, you can't go to hating me for no reason. I didn't do anything to you, baby. God damn, baby. I didn't do shit to you at the end of the day. But there's a lot of people though, chat. I've come to the realization that like, no bullshit, a lot of people don't like me for no reason.
Now, the lady in question saw this video and had to clap back at Duke Dennis by responding as to what she was really reaching out to him for. And this is where she starts to paint this narrative about Duke Dennis being some sort of bad guy.
There was a time when I had a crush on Duke Dennis, but now I'm so disgusted by his character. I don't even see him as attractive. Like, I don't even care to keep up with him. He doesn't matter to me anymore. He has now made it onto the list of all the black men who got a little bit of fame, got a little bit of money, and suddenly America stopped being shitty for them. So much that they forget they're still black. You're still black in America. And they forget it so fucking much that they ignore Marcellus Williams. They ignore the cries of so many black people. The black people who platform them, by the way. They ignore the cries of all the black people who are saying, hey, we need your voice, we need your platform to help shed light onto this so this doesn't become a trend. So white people murdering black people does not become a fucking trend. It's sad to say, but I think he's made it over to that buck broken, fucked up the ass, you know, I need my platform, I need white men to keep giving me my money and my paycheck. He's one of those black people now. The black men who say they want to lead the community, they're leaders, they're men, you know, they don't bow to anybody because they are men. You just give them the right amount of money and suddenly they're bowing to white men, they're sucking white men's dicks. I'm genuinely leaving Duke Dennis behind because I cannot continue supporting black men with platforms, with money, who can casually ignore how shitty America still is.
That sounds like rejection. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? That sounds like rejection. You know, that sounds like you're upset at the rejection. You know what I'm saying? No matter how you try to sugarcoat it, how you try to paint a picture over it, your response for sure gave off upset rejection. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Is for all black people. Simply because financially now, America is a little less shitty for them.
She's ultimately saying in this situation is that she had an assumption in her mind about who Duke Dennis was, a parasocial relationship. And now because he didn't respond to her DMs where she tried to get him to pass across a message, that's the reason why he is now these names that she has decided to call him. Now, to me, this is an obvious I turned on you for no reason other than the expectations that I put in my mind, like some major platforms to speak on the injustices that go on in today's society. However, I don't think it's their responsibility. And quite frankly, I don't want the message for the plight of Black people or people in general to come from these people who are A, out of touch, or too ignorant of the situation. It's disingenuous. It's not gonna come off as smart, and we'll be able to see the grift a mile away. Now, a lot of people called out this young lady for what it was, and she couldn't even take accountability for the situation that she created herself in her own mind because she's super delusional.
Y'all in my comment section harassing me and like trying to bully me, and the whole time I'm actually proud of myself. Because listen, the moment that I thought I had the attention of somebody who's famous, who's influential, who's a celebrity or whatever, I use that opportunity to ask for help for someone like Marcellus Williams. Or I use that opportunity to educate him on the fact that by 2053, there will be zero Black wealth within the Black community. I didn't take it as an opportunity to get money out of his pockets. I wasn't trying to get him to buy stuff. I literally thought, oh, I keep posting stuff and this influencer who has millions of followers keeps watching it. So let me take this opportunity to tell him about all the ways in which he can encourage young Black boys and girls to go back to school. And he himself can start a nonprofit to help pay for trade.
And she can try to justify this all she wants, but to me, this is another price of fame where people will create narratives, create storylines, and create things that have nothing to do with you just so they can flip on you and make you seem like you're some sort of bad guy. Should these people care about some of these things? For sure, absolutely. But is this really an indictment on them because they don't or they're not knowledgeable? No. When content creators blend this line between social activists, that's where they are susceptible to getting corrupted by money. And I'm not even saying these people are corrupted by money. I just don't think it's their place at all. And I'm not going to hold them to that standard because they don't speak about it, because they can get criticized when they do speak about it. It's literally a lose-lose situation. And ultimately, so many losses.
That's the same thing that happened with dang, the name just escaped me, bro. It's crazy. It just escaped me. But it was a rapper. Was it J. Cole? Nah, he be speaking out. It was something happened to where like it was a rapper. He didn't like stuff was going on like that during like the George Floyd riots and all that stuff. People was looking at him to speak out and he didn't speak out. I think it was J. Cole, but then kind of find out J. Cole was doing stuff off camera. Like he went to the actual protest, you know what I'm saying? Like undercover, like people that was there had to record. I think it was J. Cole. I feel like it was, because I don't think nobody would care if it was just anybody else. I feel like it was J. Cole. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? It's parasocial. You know what I'm saying? It's parasocial, bro. People make up these narratives, you know what I'm saying? They figure, hey, you know, I watch your videos all the time. I see you on my phone. I see you on my timeline all the time. Like, I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? I know who you are. Like, you the homie. Like, you him. Like, you're touchable. I can touch you. I can talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Parasocial. You know what I'm saying? And people just create these false narratives in their head, and now they crazy. You know what I'm saying? They crazy. They go crazy. So, yeah, man. That's it for the video, man. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when I post new lit content on the channel. Until next time, man. Deuces.